Hello, dear one. It will get easier, and it will become smoother. You have many questions. You have many thoughts as you are integrating and things become more connected. In your connection, you have anxieties about what is real. And we have helped you yesterday. We have helped you to understand where these anxieties are stemming from. From your ego self. In your plane, as children acclimate into the plane, they are bombarded with concepts, ideas, patterns from all sides. These influence their lives. Some you can readily identify. And those are the ones that are more easy to overcome, go beyond. But there are others that may be more subliminal. And that is why yesterday we had the experience occur to help you identify what it is that has been undermining your fullest acceptance of what is happening now. The woman who acted as your mother in this experience is a very limited soul. And you wish to help her expand, grow, heal. We will not discuss how that process, because it is too complicated, and there are too many things involved in dealing with that at this time. But she came to you yesterday with a ridiculous understanding that she had. And as you noticed, that when she is not very, nor does she wish to be educated or to learn, that she does not have the desire. She goes simply on, she likes surface stuff. She likes to live on the surface of the acting, reacting space. So when she is going to try to assert herself, she says this term, everybody knows, and then proceeds to give you some statement. Many times those statements are obviously wrong, as was the one that you received yesterday. Then when you try to clarify the situation, and I will say you did it in a very loving manner, with understanding and kindness. But her reaction of, you think you're so smart, you don't know everything, repeated and repeated as she closed off herself. When this occurred, and you looked at it after the fact, you realize that that pattern of thought has been undermining you in this process. It is continuing to scream in the back of your head. Now that you have recognized it and the source and how it was used, you can release it and stand in your divinity. That is what she has always been uncomfortable with. That is why you have met so much resistance. It is time now to release any obligations concerning her. You have done your best. You have helped in ways, but she has made choices, and she is determined in those choices. Many of the times when you think you're making headway, and so you continue on, she is just pretending so as to get attention. She has no intention of accepting your understanding. She does not value it. Let that be. Just allow that to be. There's nothing more for you to do. You have another thing, which is you're trying to understand. And it caught you off guard in a positive way. Last night, you drew a card about truth. And you thought about it and connected. And then later that evening, you saw the same card. But it was okay. It was like, oh, okay. There it is again. There's the image from it again. And you felt a tugging at your heart. But you didn't go too deep because the card was truth. And that is who you are. That is one of your favorite attributes. Truth is always strong. Truth is always strong. That is one of your mantras. Anything else that's not truth is weak and is nothing. Will float away, yes. Then before bed you saw someone that you admire, that you feel to be trustworthy because you're careful. And she pulled a card. And she pulled out the card, the exact card you had pulled out. And as she pulled out the card, you almost jumped out of your seat because that was the very card you had pulled out. And you wondered, originally you thought, was this truth referring to me and me standing in my truth? And then she says, wait, is this something more bigger? Is there a message of truth that is being spread throughout all? You are still adjusting to this. You are in all. So in and interwoven with all. So therefore anything that is of you, the fullest of you, is of the all. You are still adjusting to this. Truth. What is going out? What is coming up? What must be chosen? Dealt with, seen. The ability to have a lie does not exist everywhere. But perspectives can skew the way you see truth. And in so skewing, there's a slight altering. Truth is still truth. Truth is still strong. But the altering can affect the way you're viewing truth. It is this funny thing because what can be true for one person cannot necessarily be true for another person. But there's only one divine truth. So it is conundrum, understanding. Allow it to play in the back of your mind. Allow it to be aware. Allow as things are progressing, be aware of that card, of truth, and of the essential place that it exists. Because of the divine nature and essence, truth and love are the same thing. It is there in separation, that it has been divided up and separated. So divine love and divine truth are the same thing. Divine love, divine truth, and power. And is the same thing. Humor is the same. It is very funny when we see how, think of it as this divine core quality. Many have seen it and expressed it as being white light. Now, let me explain. I'm going to call this not necessarily white light, but all light. Because though some like white light, you do not. As it's an empty light. You see the color white many times. Things are made white and it looks empty and boring, and because that white it's just empty, blank. Ugh. You do not find peace in that white. But there is all light. It is like the white light that you experience from natural light that comes through. And it's filled with everything that's in it. It is not just white light. White, it is everything. But it is seen as white light. When this light goes through a prism, you see the separating of it. And you see the individual colors that exist within it. You see the variation in the hues. And then you see those variations in hues. And you see them as separate. Red, purple, blue, green, yellow, orange. You see it as all being separate colors. This is separation. This is what you are experiencing now. The one quality, because the all light is all of that. It is all. It's just the one thing. Why are they separating it? It's the same thing. To us, it is all the same thing. It is not separated. So the divine essence, what is of the divine essence? Is truth, is love, is power, is fun, is expansive. It is one thing. You identify them as separate, but they are not separate. They cannot really truly exist as separate. It is your playing with that in separation that allows you to see them as separate and explore them as separate, but they cannot exist as separate. You cannot have truth without love. You cannot have love or truth without power. You cannot have power without truth. You cannot have power without love. They are all together. I'm using these three main things because those three things have a big impact upon those who live in separation. And I saw them three things because that's what, from your experience, it is seen as such. From our experience, it is you're playing with the variances of the same quality and trying to separate and identify them and see, can you have love without truth, or can you have power without love, and you try and experience and experiment with that. It does not work. It is one united thing, and it goes through all things. It is the very essence of all things. So when you think of living in separation, understand this is very true and very bigger than sometimes people consider. You are separating the one all light into in trying to make it into individual things and explore each individual thing to understand the divine even bit more. I am not sure, she is not sure, you are not sure if the words are expressing what you are seeing and experiencing. So we're going to try to say it once more and hope that we get all the nuances, so that we will not get all the divine essence, as we will call it, is divine love, divine truth, divine power are all the same thing. It is one thing. It is what is divine. The separation that you are in is trying to take that divine everything and take it through a prism and separate it and look at each aspect of or element of the divine as separate, and trying to define it as separate and see if you can pull it apart and work with it as though they were separate things. If you can have one without the other. Can you have lies and love? Can you have lies and power? And it is, you're experimenting with it. And you have experimented and played with it. But what you have learned is that what you have shown, you have not learned it yet. Because you've gotten so deep into the separation that everything is separate that you have forgotten that it was all the same thing. And you have gotten obsessed over individual things. You could get obsessed of love. You could get obsessed of unity. You could get obsessed of power. You could get obsessed of truth. And in that obsession, you look only at that and block out all the others. And this has led some to insanity. And in the unifyingness, there have been messages that have been brought to Earth. No, let me rephrase it. It's not just Earth, it's more. It's more than that. There's messages that have been brought forth talking about unity consciousness. And they have put all these definitions on it. And there is the term, we are all one. You do not even understand. Because in your desire to separate and to make definitions, you do not grasp what the unity consciousness is. Or the message has gotten, what do we call it, flourished, eddies. Things have been added. Confused. The unity consciousness is to bring all this separate ideas of truth, love, power, of all the qualities that you have separated out that are of the divine, and realize through another, it's like taking the prism backwards, realizing that it was all part of just the one thing, the one divine essence that is all of all of us. It is not separate and cannot be separate. So when you think of the unity consciousness, see the prism, see the light going backwards, the prism, all the different colors. See them as all one color. And when you look at the white light, the all light, look at it carefully. And you will see in the white light, even without the prism, the all of it. How it moves and flows and works together and is one thing. It is not many things put together. It is only one thing you have tried to separate. Whenever you think of unity consciousness, think of prisms. Bring prisms into your life to help remind your soul what is going on. That everything exists in the divine. And no one part of the divine can exist without the other parts of the divine. And to focus on just one part, it brings to insanity because it cannot exist. This is what you're trying to understand. You cannot work on love without working on power and truth at the exact same time, because it's the same thing. They are not different things. You have seen in your separating onto the different colors, where you've tried to have power and what was that? Justice. Yes, fairness. Justice is also part of it. You try to take power and justice, but you cannot have power and justice without love and truth. You cannot have love and truth without power and justice. They are all the same thing. You cannot focus, I will get this one thing, and then I will work on the others. It is all the same thing. Connect to your divinity, and then everything is imbalanced. It is one thing. It is not separate things. You do not fight for justice. You do not fight for love. You do not fight for power. You do not focus on it. You do not create just one. You cannot create just one. They are all the same. Just look at prisms. Look at the light. And in the light, see it all. When you see all the colors in the one light, then you can see your life as it truly is. All the same thing. I'll say this again. Look at the light. See all the colors in the light. See all the elements of the divinity in the light. And recognize they are always together and cannot be separated. I will now leave you. We will now leave you with the image of light, and look for the rainbows in the light. Don't look for the separate colors. See how they're all the same color. See how it is all the same light. It is not different light. It is all balanced and cannot exist without the others. May the light of love and divinity be in peace and harmony within you.